things started here. So I put this together sort of as to collect my thoughts with respect to the Rule Zero show that we did on MGTOW last Saturday. It was not my idea to do. I think this was really sort of Rich's gig. He wanted to well, first of all, he wanted to I don't say take down, but he certainly wanted to at least have some sort of rebuttal to Coach Greg Adams, I think is the guy's name. I'm not even familiar with the guy, but once I became a little bit more familiar and I started looking into this kind of stuff, like back in May at the 21 convention and the Patriarchs 21 convention, I did a Red Man group, and in that Red Man group, I made the case that the Red Pill is going to have a PR problem very, very soon. And I think we're already experiencing that Red Pill, or that problem in public relations. The mainstream media is becoming very, I think that they like the Red Pill as a good villain to have. They like to have something that's cute and easy to pronounce, I think. And so when you say manosphere, or you say, pull that out of there, or when you say, manosphere, when you say Red Pill, when you say this kind of stuff, it's almost like saying alt-right. Like I think back in 2015, 2016, right, in that election cycle, the whole idea of the alt-right was like, ooh, it's a boogeyman, right? It's like a villain. It was the easy villain to hate on. Whereas now I think the manosphere and the Red Pill sort of had a PR problem, certainly did after the last double shootings that happened in Texas, and then again in Dayton, Ohio. And of course, the first thing anybody wants to talk about when stuff like that. Or there's also that one that was here in California too, the one at the Garlic Festival. I think that was in somewhere in Northern California. I forget the name. But when you have incidences like that, and it's young men, and particularly young white men, the mainstream media likes to pick up that narrative again and say, oh, it's the manosphere, it's these incels, it's the MGTOWs, it's the MRAs, it's the Red Pill guys, it's the guys who can't get laid, and this is how they lash out, and we need to do something about it. It's this notion that in some way these kids are being radicalized, and to, I think I get thrown in with that quite a bit. I think a lot of people, particularly even my former business associates, would say something similar to that. They would say, well, he's the one that's radicalizing them, because everybody needs a boogeyman, and they need a guy to blame for things that really they don't understand, or maybe they do understand and they just simply don't want to accept. So, but here's my thing, is when I was writing this piece, I was thinking about the discussion that we were having on Saturday, and it occurred to me then, when I'm seeing a guy like Coach, quote unquote coach, as a coach for MGTOW, a coach, a life coach, a relationship coach. I don't even know how really to place that, but there's a coach, and a coach who claims to be MGTOW. And I thought about that, and I go, I think that the term MGTOW or the term Red Pill are becoming sort of synonymous with one another right now. So when Coach Greg Adams says to Rich, you're screwing your own people, you're coming out against MGTOW. Now, of course, that's a grift. He wants to just simply drive the nails in that much more by saying, oh, you're going against what you said before, which is absolutely untrue. But it brought me to the awareness that MGTOW is now a grift. It can be a grift anyways, or maybe it's going to be the next grift, in that, like, when I talk about the purple pill and I talk about life coaches and quote unquote, dating relationship experts, I've always said, hey, that there's the red pill, and then there's the hustle, right? There's the I don't say truth. I wrote a post about this called False Positives. There's the truth, and then there's the hustle. And it seems to me that MGTOW is now becoming a hustle. And and bear with me here, okay? And I think that this is because there is such an association with the Red Pill now that, even MGTOWs will say that, the MGTOW is Red Pill. They don't even want to use MGTOW anymore. They just want to, or they don't even use Red Pill anymore. They want to just call it MGTOW. And I'm seeing a lot of these guys who want to get in on that, who want to get in on that bottom line. They would say, oh, this is where all the men are, so let's go over to MGTOW. Let's call ourselves MGTOW. I'm a life coach, but okay, so how am I going to reach out to men? Oh, they're all in MGTOW community. Let me go over there and call myself a MGTOW. Are they in the Red Pill community? Let me go over there and say that I'm I'm Red Pill or something like that. So I see this in a lot. I don't want to just pick on life coaches, because I see even like evangelical pastors doing the same thing. They will wonder where all the men went in their churches, and they'll go, okay, men are dropping out of religion. Men are leaving our churches. It's nothing but women here. How do we reach out to men? How do we have a men's, encounter, right? I mean, that's what I'm doing my research for book 4. And that's one of the things is like men's encounters or men's retreats, it's like, how do they reach these guys? Like the guys who are in those retreats, and they bill it as some kind of like really super masculine thing. We're all going to get together and we're going to fight MMA or something like that. And they never do. They just like sit around and have coffee and talk about God. And there's no real understanding of how men actually relate with other men. But my point being is that when you have these men's ministries, and they can't just keep preaching to the choir, they have to go outside the church. They have to go outside their comfort zone and have to find out where the men are. And the men are in the manosphere. That's where they are. It's the same thing like when me coming from a branding background. One of the hardest things for marketers to actually appeal to or to reach out to is the male market right now. And the reason for that is because it is primarily women who are the primary consumer in today's society. Women account for more savings. They make more decisions in the family. They buy more cars. They make more purchases. They are the primary consumer in Western culture. And so as a result of that, it's very easy to market to women, but it's very difficult to market to men. That's why the whole thing, what happened with the Gillette commercial was such a major cluster for Gillette, is because they thought that they were doing the right thing. At least somebody up the chain of command at Gillette or Procter & Gamble thought they were making a good decision by hiring some militant feminist to produce some, not a commercial, but like really just, feminist agitprop, and to think that that's going to resonate with men. Well, here's the thing. That commercial was not supposed to resonate with men. It was supposed to resonate with women. Why? Because women do the most purchasing. They purchase the razor blades for their husbands to use 9 times out of 10. Okay. Guys are going to say, well, I'm the one that I actually go and make my own decisions and buy my own stuff. Okay, great. Good for you. But you are an outlier. Most women make most of the purchases. And I see Rich is in the chat. Thanks, Rich, for coming by. You know what, Rich? If I haven't made you I don't think I've made you Rich, have I made you an admin on my channel? I don't think I have. Okay, Rich. Oh yeah, you are. Okay, cool. Thanks, Rich. Yet another thing I would very much like to talk about tomorrow when we're talking about money is the purchasing power and the economic power of women in a gynocentric social order. So the reason I'm going out talking about this is because when it comes to reaching men are very, very difficult to reach. Okay. Getting men to buy a car has to go through the woman most of the time. If you're in a family, it has to be a family decision and not a guy decision. When a guy buys a hot car, it's either because he's got a lot of money, he's single, or he's going through a midlife crisis. Those are the first things that you think of, right? So the reason I'm talking about this is because there is a quest to find where the men are. Where did the men go? I'm going to use the pastor analogy here again, because that's the easiest one. So men leave the church, or men leave your brand. Men leave your product or whatever, and you want to market and you want to sell to men. And whether that's an ideology or that's like a product or whatever, doesn't matter. Still looking for where the men are. So how do you appeal to men? If I'm a life coach, if I'm a personality kind of guy, or if I'm a guy who wants to sell success porn, or I want to be like Tony Robbins, the power positive thinking kind of stuff, I've got to go where the men are. And so where are they? Well, most men are having conversations in the manosphere right now. It started back in the early 2000s, with the forums and, alt fast seduction and so suave and those kind of things at those forums. And now it has sort of blossomed into being the manosphere. And the manosphere has a lot of different tribes. And I think what happens is people who are outside the manosphere, guys who really want to appeal to a male market, especially if that's their thing. If I'm going to teach guys how to be patriarchs. Okay, well, how do you get to them? Well, you've got to find some way to reach those guys. So how do you do that? Well, you have to remarket and brand yourself as a MGTOW, as the red pill, as whatever. It used to be, it's funny, it used to be that the NFL was the only place that you could reliably market to men. And even that's not true anymore because it has been completely assimilated by the feminine imperative. And if you don't believe me, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So you can go see everybody wearing pink as of tomorrow on Thursday Night Football. So anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there, make people aware of that, of this post that I just talked about. If you want me to go into a little bit more detail, just, hit me up in the chats. I'll be happy to talk to you about that. But what I see, and I don't want to just entirely pick on Coach Adams here, but what I see happening is sort of a purple pill movement from within the MGTOW community right now. So you're going to have guys coming in and saying, yeah, I'm MGTOW. And some of these guys don't even really know what MGTOW is. It's just they're happy to put it in their Twitter profile, or they're happy to put it on their YouTube about page or something and say, hey, I'm MGTOW. Well, they don't know what that means. They know that MGTOW, here's what they think MGTOW means. They think MGTOW means just this. They think it just means not making women the measure of your life anymore, right? Which sounds a whole lot like mental point of origin, which sounds a whole lot like you got to be the most important number one person in your life, which is, of course, success porn. So all of that sort of lines up, and it aligns really well, and it's easy to get behind a message like that. But it's not just that. There's more to it than just that. It's how do you live your life once you get past that. It's not the theory of MGTOW, which is really red pill. It's not that theory. It's what do you do with that knowledge once you have accepted, you say, hey, I'm going to be my own mental point of origin. Great. Now what are you going to do with it? I'm going to stay in my room and jerk off to porn. I'm going to talk all day in chat rooms. Well, okay, that's something you can do. But is that MGTOW or is that not MGTOW? I think that there's still a lot of, I think the jury is still out on MGTOW as a collective because so many people express it in so many different ways. And I was getting into that actually on Saturday. It's like, I get it. I get that incel. You don't want incels to be part of MGTOW. Okay, fine. You don't want PUAs to be part of MGTOW. Well, why not? That's just how they're using that. They're making themselves, are they still not, are they not sticking to the number one tenet, which is if I'm a PUA and I'm saying, hey, I'm not making women the measure of my life, but I'm going to learn more about them and I'm going to be better with women. I'm not going to make them the priority in my life, but I'm still going to want to have sex with them. And I want to learn how to do that. I want to understand female nature. I think really, if you want to be a guy that goes your own way, you have to at some point make a decision to, well, first of all, to make yourself your mental point of origin, make yourself your priority. But once you've done that, it's like you have to decide where you're going to go with that and what you plan to do. I'm going to go monk mode. I'm going to go this. I'm going to do that. And that's where the decentralization, and there's not like a MGTOW manifesto. There's not a one size. MGTOW's not one size fits all. There are guys who would like to say that they're married and they're MGTOW. Well, other guys will say, no, that can't be. If you get married, you're blue pill. Screw it. You got nobody listen to these guys. Well, okay, fine. What do you tell the coaches? What do you tell the MGTOW coaches? I don't see the thing is I don't think most of these guys who claim to be MGTOW coaches really even realize what MGTOW is. They think that it's an easy brand to slap on. It's like these guys are like NASCAR drivers and they need to slap the MGTOW sticker onto their car so that they're kosher with that particular tribe or that particular brand or whatever else. So